Play statue. Good, good. Okay. Now, pretend you're in a wax museum. Excellent. Okay, great. Now do Sam Neill in Jurassic Park when he found himself directly in front of a T-Rex. Awesome! Clearly, I've learned how to train my dragon. And tonight, we look at Dreamworks' How to Train Your Dragon 3 to see how they're taming the box office. It all starts right now on Stay Tuned. Hey, welcome to Stay Tuned, the show for animation lovers, recorded live on Twitch, broadcast on YouTube, and proudly streaming on Patreon. Coming to you from Austin, Texas, I'm your host, Phil Machi. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. It looks like farewell for now to the Viking town of Berk as we explore the ways How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World, caps off an impressive franchise with tonight's First Impressions review. All that, and you'll have a chance to share your thoughts, questions, and opinions with me for a live Q&A after the show. Tonight's episode of Stay Tuned is sponsored by Austin Film Meet. Got an interest in producing film, video, or new media? Austin Film Meet is one of the most well-loved communities for independent film in Austin, Texas, utilizing events and programs to bring creative people together. Creatives of all types are welcome, whether you're an actor, director, writer, or any other artist. AFM is focused on raising skill levels and professionalism through increased awareness, education, and experience. Learn more about their upcoming events and more today at austinfilmmeet.com. Dragons chase sheep, humans chase dragons, and Hollywood loves to chase its sequels, and with them, the dollars that follow. Tonight, however, we're taking a look at why one particular franchise from Dreamworks Animation, catches major feels as it chases your heartstrings. And we'll do so in just a few moments. But first, this. You know, I try to stay as unbiased as possible when writing reviews, but the truth is, there will always be some stories that resonate more personally than others. The How to Train Your Dragon franchise remains my favorite series put forth by Dreamworks Animation. I am, after all, an animal lover and inspired by creature themes in storytelling, so it really hits all the right notes. One of the series' greatest strengths is its ability to be genuine. And that is why I went into this final entry into the series with high expectations and a bittersweet demeanor. After 2 movies, a few shorts, and even an animated series, the movie trilogy wraps up with The Hidden World. Set 1 year after the events of the second film, we find our main protagonist, Hiccup, voiced by Jay Baruchel, working closely with his dragon rider companions. They've been systematically locating dragon poachers and, as stealthily as this ragtag bunch can, freeing the creatures. Okay, yeah, they really haven't mastered the stealth part yet. From there, the beasts find refuge in Berk, now a town overflowing with dragons living in relative harmony with its residents. In desperation, a group of smugglers call upon the aid of Grimmel the Grizzly to deal with the do-gooders. Voiced by F. Murray Abraham, Grimmel has made it his personal mission in life to rid the world of every last Night Fury. And with that, it is clear the villain of this film is coming straight for Hiccup's dragon, Toothless. But now that Toothless is recognized as the alpha among dragonkind, how can anyone possibly pose a threat? Well, the smugglers have a plan for that. Of course, because if they didn't, then the movie would have ended very quickly indeed. See, they've got a female Night Fury on hand, which is extremely rare since, until this point in the series, we haven't seen any other Night Furies other than Toothless. Grimmel plans to use this female to lure Toothless away from Hiccup and Burke. After all, he who controls the alpha controls the dragons. And who better to control a male dragon than a female? And speaking of control issues, Grimmel also has a real nasty way of controlling dragons by keeping them in a drug-induced state. That means his two personal dragon slaves can't be influenced by Toothless, which makes this guy a pretty good adversary. Meanwhile, Hiccup has some heavy decision-making on his mind. As long as Burke is a haven for dragons, their town continues to stand out as a target, as they learned all too well in the last film. He's reminded of an old legend his father used to talk about, a sort of dragon utopia he called the Hidden World. This is the stuff of legends. Supposedly, any ships that would go in search of it would find the edge of the world and never return. You know, because they'd fall off the edge of the world. Hey, and guess what? Love is in the air. People in Burke are wondering when Hiccup and Astrid are gonna tie the knot. And the answer is, Astrid, voiced by America Ferrera, is not ready for that yet. Oh well, there's always Toothless. Oop, one moment. Excuse me. There's always Toothless, who senses a new dragon on the island. Why, it's the female Night Fury! He's not the only Night Fury out there, and this one's a real beauty at that. She's like a Pegasus beluga whale, an albino yin to his jet black yang. Anyway, romance gets interrupted when this Light Fury, as Astrid calls her, is spooked by Hiccup. She flees, and Hiccup discovers a trap that was meant to capture Toothless. A trap set by Grimmel. This is just the warning he needed to prepare for some trap setting of his own. Sure enough, Hiccup is visited later that evening by Grimmel, who attempts to kidnap Toothless. Much to the assassin's surprise, Hiccup set up a little ambush of his own, which Hiccup too set up an ambush, which fails and results in the fiery destruction of his house and part of Burke. Grimmel leaves empty-handed, but one thing is certain: the residents of the town of Burke and the dragons with them are no longer safe here. It sounds crazy to pretty much everyone but Hiccup, but he believes the Hidden World holds the key to everyone's safety. So he convinces the town that home is where the heart is and not where the Burke was, and they pack up and ship out. Destination: the Hidden World. Again, this is a place no one has ever found. Unfortunately, finding a thing no one has ever found before proves to be a challenge. Shocker. After an already long journey, the Vikings make camp on a relatively safe and secluded island. Everyone agrees it is a nice place to stop and rest. Hey, you know something? It's like really nice. Nice enough even to start building a new Burke. Yep, the general consensus now is to skip out on pursuing Hiccup's original plan. Except Hiccup is still determined on pressing forward. And it's a good thing too, because Grimmel has not only been combing over all of former Burke since it was abandoned, but he is also hot on their trail. Except he doesn't know exactly where the town relocated to. Our crazy dragon lovebirds, or love lizards, are smack dab in the middle of courtship, but Toothless is at a clear disadvantage. See, way back in the first dragon film, his tail was wounded by Hiccup, making him permanently handicapped. Without Hiccup to pilot the Night Fury, he cannot fly freely. Wanting Toothless to find love, Hiccup develops a new and improved tail that allows Toothless to go solo. The plan works, and both Night Furies fly off into the sunset. Hiccup assumes they'll return, but everyone else, including the audience, is thinking, maybe this is it. Meanwhile, Hiccup's mother, Valka, returns from a scouting mission to report that Grimmel is still close behind. Hiccup decides to end this threat immediately and proactively goes after Grimmel, which does not go as planned, to say the least. Roughnut, the abrasive blonde twin to Toughnut, gets captured. Toothless is gone, and, well, things just kind of feel yucky in general now. However, Roughnut manages to escape by hilariously just being her annoying non-stop talkative self, which seems great, of course, except she is followed by Grimmel. So the wonderful new home of Burke is no longer a secret. Gee, that didn't take long. When Roughnut makes it back to the Vikings, Hiccup realizes their safety is once again compromised. He needs Toothless to help him defend the people of Burke. So he and Astrid fly off in search of the love-struck creature, but instead they find, dun dun dun, the hidden world, and also Toothless. Even before reaching the hidden world, it was clear to me how advanced CG animation has come since the 2010 film. The lighting and shadows alone have escalated the art form, but when combined with the improved cinematography, this third movie is a true beauty, let me tell you. Once Hiccup and Astrid finally discover the hidden world, it's just, well, breathtaking. Stunning waterfalls, crystal caves, and a horde of individually animated, distinctive dragons all combine for an experience I know I want to see again. And as soon as this sanctuary is finally revealed, it becomes clear this was not a place for humanity to tread on, let alone live in. The terrain is treacherous and it is filled with dragons who are, well, doing just fine on their own, separate from the world of men. Needless to say, the conflict that follows is appropriate. I'm not going to spoil how it all goes down, but I promise everything wraps up in a satisfying way. It all feels faithful to the franchise and to dragon mythology without resorting to sloppy writing or ridiculous adversaries. After its first 4 weeks in theaters, The Hidden World is quickly approaching $500,000 in sales. In ticket sales, while it is technically pacing slightly behind its predecessors compared to their first month of release, I think the final returns will be solid, especially when you consider that the sequel budgets have been lowered each time. The How to Train Your Dragon series is one of those rare gems in cinema. Each entry builds and surpasses the last, and it does so without betraying itself. Much like how the characters age and mature over time, so too do the sequels. The series has improved with age, and yet I can still go back to the first film and find just as much heart and soul to a story filled with imagination. We don't feel a sense of cruelty in the actions of Burke's Dragon Fellowship up to this point, but this film does an incredible job helping the audience to realize it really is better for everyone if the dragons are able to roam free, for now. The first film was themed around identity, and the second, family. In 3, writer-director Dean DeBlois presents us a mature story themed around love. Astrid loves Hiccup to support him even when she doesn't necessarily agree with him. Presents us a mature story themed around love. Hiccup carries the love of his father and allows that to guide his actions as chief, and of course, the deep love between he and Toothless through sacrifice and letting go. The Hidden World is the perfect bookend to the series because it encapsulates a moment in time. Allowing a series to end provides necessary pause to view it as a whole. The success of these films should be a lesson to other franchises. Like I said, there have been short films, a TV series, and 3 movies, all providing hours and hours of entertainment. That's plenty of context for this saga. And besides, who's to say our imaginations can't fill in the rest? With even more refined textures, lighting, and cinematography that at times looks on par with a live-action fantasy film, Dragon 3 was made for the big screen. The series as a whole celebrates life through its many changes. We get to see Hiccup mature and accept the mantle from his father, be reunited with his mother, find romantic love with Astrid, and a lifelong friendship bond with Toothless. You could look at it as all good things must come to an end, but I prefer to think of it as But I prefer to think of it like real life. Good and bad comes and goes, but love endures despite it all. I'm giving How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World 10 out of 10 dragons. That was a selection from a track called Once There Were Dragons from the How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World score by John Powell. The choral arrangements and theme building of this epic and uplifting score support the majesty of the film's visuals. It absolutely warrants solitary play apart from the animation. Along with the first two dragon entries, John Powell has been very active in scoring animation. This includes DreamWorks' Kung Fu Panda 1 and 2, Disney's Bolt, and Rio 1 and 2 for Blue Sky Studios, to name a few, going all the way back to the 1998 film Ants, which was DreamWorks' very first animated feature. Well, that about wraps it up for this episode. Thanks so much to all of you joining me live on Twitch. I hope you enjoyed the show, and if you would like to support Stay Tuned and tune in anytime, join me over on Patreon at patreon.com/Phil Machi to become a subscriber today. Among the cool rewards available there, you can also stream this show anytime you like, which means never missing an episode. For more fun, check out my original comic books at retailsunshine.com, and you can interact with me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook under the handles of both Retail Sunshine and Phil Machi. Also, you can keep up to date with the latest animation news by visiting this show at facebook.com/Stay Tuned Show. I've been Phil Machi, you've been a wonderful audience, and until next time, keep those eyeballs peeled, those ears open, and be sure to train your dragons. And stay tuned. Alrighty. Thank you so much for being with me for this review tonight. Thank you so much. We are just hanging out now. We are here at the after party, as it were. And a couple announcements I would like to go over real quickly. First of all, next week, got a new show coming up. Now, before I get to that, let me say we are now in the